Last week, Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem was in Saskatoon, and I was there in the room, and today I want to share what I heard and, more importantly, what it means for you, whether you're a homeowner, an investor, or just someone trying to make sense of this economy.
This is the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast.
Now, Macklem covered a lot of ground: global trade, the US dollar, financial risks, and Canada's future, but I'm going to boil it down to four big takeaways. The US is no longer the only hub for global trade, and that changes how Canada and Saskatchewan fit into the world economy. The US dollar isn't bulletproof anymore, and that has ripple effects for interest rates, borrowing, and investment. Global trade and financial imbalances are growing again, and that creates new risks that we cannot ignore. And finally, what all of this means for Canada's economy and for Saskatchewan's jobs, housing, and growth prospects. Stick around, because at the end, I'm also going to give you my own perspective, the danger these shifts bring for Saskatchewan, but also the opportunity that we have if we adapt the right way. So let's get into it with takeaway number one. The US is no longer the center of the trade universe. For decades, the United States dominated global trade. If you looked at the trade map in 2000, all the arrows pointed through Washington, but that's no longer the case. Today, the world has three main hubs: the US, China, and the Eurozone, and the system has become far more complex. On top of that, tariffs are back. In fact, Macklem pointed out that US tariffs have not been this high since the 1930s, and tariffs do two things. They reduce direct trade with the US. They reroute supply chains as countries look for new partners. China, for example, has been building stronger trade ties with the global south, and that's accelerating. And why does this matter for Saskatchewan? The good news: about 95% of Saskatchewan's exports fall under the Canada-US-Mexico agreement. So we are not taking the brunt of US tariffs. The risk: if the US economy slows, we get hit indirectly. And don't forget, China has blocked our canola. That hurts us directly. So for Saskatchewan producers, this is a wake-up call. We need more markets, not just the US and China, and we need to move up the value chain. And this is exactly what Premier Scott Moe was talking about at the event as well. It's not just potash and grain anymore. Saskatchewan is processing canola into oil and proteins, exporting value-added ag products, and even pushing uranium producers toward the nuclear power life cycle. That's diversification, and it's the right move in this new multipolar world. Takeaway number two: the US dollar is not bulletproof anymore. The second key takeaway is all about money. The US still dominates global finance. Its stock market is the largest and most dynamic, and US Treasury bonds are the world's safe asset. And that's why the US dollar has been the global reserve currency for decades. But here's what has changed. Despite tariffs, the US dollar has fallen about 10% this year, and gold prices are up 40%. That's not what you'd expect. Normally, protectionism should strengthen the US currency. Instead, investors are showing less faith in America's stability. Why does this matter for us? Because borrowing costs and financial stability are global. If global investors start demanding higher returns for holding US assets, that pushes up financing costs everywhere. For Saskatchewan, businesses looking to expand may face pricier loans. Developers and investors could see higher cap rates and less aggressive valuations. Households will feel the effects if volatility pushes mortgage rates in unexpected directions. And it's just a reminder that even if the Bank of Canada cuts rates here, global forces can still make borrowing more expensive.
Real estate investing does not have to be a full-time job. Randall, Hoeber, and Boys Group Realty provide complete property management services in Yorkton and surrounding areas, allowing investors to enjoy passive income without the headaches of day-to-day management. From finding tenants to handling maintenance and rent collection. Whether you own a property or are just getting started in the market, Randall, Hoeber, and Boys Group Realty makes it simple. Call Randall Hoeber at 306-782-1323 or email info@ralixenterprises.com to take the next step towards hands-free real estate investing. Your property, our expertise. Whether it's your home, business, or farm, Pioneer Solar and Renewables has you covered. As leaders in residential, commercial, and agriculture solar solutions, they make clean energy easy and affordable. Visit pioneersolarenergy.com or give them a call to begin harnessing the power of the sun today. Are you investing in real estate? Let Krishna with Boys Group Realty take care of everything. Finding properties, purchasing, renovations, leasing, and management, leaving you to focus on building wealth. Whether it's a single rental or an entire portfolio, serving Saskatoon and surrounding areas, helping maximize cash flows and minimize stress. If you're looking for an expert to manage your investments, reach out today, home@meetkrishna.ca.
Global imbalances are back and risky. The third theme Macklem hammered on was trade and capital imbalances. The US spends more than it saves. It runs deficits and relies on foreign capital. Meanwhile, China and the EU run surpluses. They save more than they spend. And that imbalance is not new, but it's growing again. And here's why Macklem is worried. When one side keeps borrowing and the other side keeps lending, the risk piles up in the system. He pointed to 2008. Remember the global financial crisis? That was not just about US mortgages. It was about foreign capital pouring into the US, amplifying the collapse when things went wrong. Fast forward to today, US deficits are ballooning again. Hedge funds and non-bank players are buying US debt with leveraged strategies. That increases fragility at the core of the financial system. Now, why should we in Saskatchewan care? Because when financial markets shake, it doesn't matter if you're in New York, Toronto, or Saskatoon. The ripple effects hit jobs, housing, and investment here. It also ties back to trade. Macklem was clear. Tariffs won't fix this imbalance. As long as the US spends more than it produces, it has to import more than it exports. That's structural and it's very risky. Takeaway number 4, what does all of this mean for Canada and Saskatchewan? Now let's bring it home. Macklem was clear. Canadian exports slowed even before US tariffs ramped up. But the trade war has made things worse. He noted in one quarter, Canadian exports dropped nearly 27%. GDP contracted 1.6%. Unemployment ticked up nationally to 7.1%. Here in Saskatchewan, we're still outperforming. Our unemployment rate still sits at 4.7%, the lowest in the country. That's a sign of resilience, but we are not immune. If the US slows or China keeps barriers up, our exporters feel it and jobs follow. Macklem said it plainly, Canada's economy will work less efficiently in a more protectionist world. There will be added costs, incomes will be lower, and the Bank of Canada can't wave a magic wand. What they can do is support the transition, and that's why the bank recently cut interest rates by 25 basis points to ease the adjustment and keep inflation near 2%. But monetary policy, as he put it, can't bend the orange line back up to the blue line, referring to our projections of where the economy should be and where they are now that we have these tariffs. The Bank of Canada can't undo structural trade barriers. Only governments and businesses can do that by diversifying markets and innovating. So to close this out, let me leave you with this. The danger is real. A protectionist United States, fragile global financial flows, rising uncertainty for exporters, investors, and households. If we stand still, Saskatchewan will still feel the pain in lost markets, in higher financing costs, and in more volatility for jobs and housing. But there's also an opportunity. Saskatchewan already has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country. We are leading the way on value-added agriculture, energy, and resource diversification. Our businesses and governments are already looking outward, building new markets, and climbing the value chain. And honestly, that's the path forward. Macklem's message was clear. These are not temporary bumps. They are structural shifts, and structural shifts demand that we have a structural response.
The Saskatchewan Realtors Association supports over 1,700 realtors across the province. Their members provide expert insights to help you navigate the market. Visit sra.ca for monthly stats, industry updates, and to find a realtor near you.
For Saskatchewan, that means bending our own projection line up through diversification, productivity, and smart investment. If we do that, we can turn global uncertainty into local resilience. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast. If you found this breakdown helpful, if you liked it, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button to catch our weekly episodes. Until next week, I'm Ron Caroni, your Saskatchewan mortgage professional. Bye for now.